So the motivation we were talking about.
Yeah. So when the problems of the project were looking at who can we bring in, that's when now Chamber was identified as a key stakeholder from the private sector, because we represent the private sector participation in the mineral development value chain. And if you look at the project, it's talking of environmental governance in large-scale mining projects. That's how we find ourselves.
So a lot of the members are operating in the large mining sector.
In Kenya, we don't have large mining operations. In fact, we have only 2 large-scale mining companies. Yeah. Much of our mineral development work is done by small-scale and medium-scale mining companies. We have like 3 more medium-scale, 2 gold processing, and the other one is carbon dioxide mining, and the majority are small-scale, and mainly they are Tsanos. Yeah.
But how do you see in what way this project would benefit the chamber members?
Thank you. This project, environment, without serious registration and compliance efforts, the investors can take environment not because it's an expenditure, it's a cost to mitigate an environment. That's why enforcement is there, and we are very happy with what NEMA is doing. So, without our members being sensitized on the environment, people can just focus on profit making and fail to look at the environment, sustainability, and the human rights concerns. And that brings out one thing, that our projects become less sustainable. Because for sustainability, you need to think about the environment and human rights. So this program is sensitizing us on those 2 aspects.
What is the status of applying human rights, rule of law principles approach in Kenya? What is the status? What is the current situation of, complying with the human rights and rule of law principles at the moment, from your perspective?
Thank you. I would say from the mining companies, we are observing the human rights principles. We want our people to work in paratable areas. We want them empowered, the safety standards. These are some of the things we are encouraging our members to have. However, as I said, most of the mining is done by the small scale and the artisanals, who are just like they are surviving. So when you tell them about all these things, they are ready to endanger their life to get what they can. And the only way now is to try and do what the minister is trying to do, to formalize them, to assist them into growing to formal establishments, where now they can start looking at how do we sustain our operations, how do we make our working life better. Like recently, you had those guys who died in Migori. It's because they are working in very unsafe areas. Even though you go and cross those mines, they will still come and open them because they are using it as a survival, they have nothing else to do. Most of these problems are caused by high unemployment rate. Yeah.
Well, what is your background, Moses? You run
I'm a
your
mining
own...
engineer.
Oh right.
I'm a mining engineer.
But you're now working full time in the chamber to support the member organizations. Okay.
I resigned from government. I worked for 18 years.
So you know quite a lot the government system.
I worked for 18 years in government. I was at one time the acting commissioner of mines and geology for 1.5 years before I went to the private sector.
Do you know a lot of the colleagues now from NIMA and
him? We worked with him. We were employed
together. Oh right.
We went to school together. So most of the people who are working in the ministry are my colleagues.
Right. So how important is this personal relationship, in driving change in the mining sector governance?
Yeah, it's a very exciting experience for me. And when I'm discussing with my colleagues in the ministry, I'm bringing to them that the private sector feel perception of the whole sector, and we can engage. Like when we are engaging on the royalty issues, them they have just scribbled, pay this when you are doing this, pay this when you are doing this, and we have just agreed that we needed to put great mind and thought into the prescriptions we have for royalty and other fee payments, so that we can continuously move this country from mining for raw materials to export, but to mine for raw materials to our industry, so that we can start now dealing with mineral-based products. That's where the background of our economy should be running.
Were you involved in the CESA process?
The CESA process from the time of the consultant, Habitat Planners, the company which did the CESA report. Yes.
So you've been involved in the consultation, the data collection, data analysis, validation process, right?
Yes.
How important do you think this engagement from representing the chamber in doing this kind of baseline assessment?
It's very important. Because
Why?
We are being, the CESA report is identifying those areas where we are doing, and maybe we are not doing it with the perception, long-term perception. There are those things which you wake up to do, but you don't know what is the long-term gain. So now we are putting minds into it to know, when we do this, what is the long-term gain.
From your perspective, of course, the last few days we heard a lot, from the NEMA side, from other stakeholders' perspective, what they have learned from the CESA assessment process, the result, the findings and recommendations, what need to prioritize. But for you, representing the chamber, from the chamber perspective, the representing the mining organizations, what do you see are the main challenges in sort of, so that the governance system for the environmental sector, the mining sector, can be more accountable, transparent, and inclusive? What are the main challenges?
The main challenge is to harmonize the various interests in the mineral sector. The NEMA, they are interested in safe environment and respect for human rights. The companies are interested in good environment for business. The government is interested in regulating rule of law, and with sometimes other hidden agendas. So everybody needs to come out. When we are being brought together as stakeholders by this program, we are called to come out. Everybody say what is doing, so that through engagement we can decide, we have been doing it from here, we can do it better here, and all stakeholders to drop their hidden agendas. If it's the community, don't just push the companies because you want other favors. Say what you need, and you'll be able to be assisted if it's in accordance thereof. What we need to promote through this engagement is being able to understand the law better, and where we appreciate now the rule of law.
Why do you think, because you mentioned about it's important for the government to play a role to bring different actors together, to have a dialogue and deal with different conflict of interest. But what is holding back these actors to come together? What is holding the interagency coordination so far? Do you feel they are? Because if I understand that you feel we should do more, right? But what is the problem of not being able to do?
The lack of the initiation to work together. If you look at priority projects we have identified from the CESA report, one of them is inter-agency coordination, because it's lacking. When a member of man goes to a mine and ministry man go to the same mine and the community come to the same mine, you find them not talking in one direction. Everybody is fixed in his own mind. So that's why I'm talking of harmonizing those minds to pull in one direction, to pour output in one direction, to forge a common interest. That is not happening now. If you look like this CESA issue, the Minister of Mining, times they come, they don't come, they feel this is not us, why is NEMA coming now to do a project in mining?
It's the first time for many of them to...
We should see the presence of the ministry. We're not seeing that. Look at the company. When you want to visit a mine like this one, the companies are open to ensure we show people what good environmental concerns are. And when you look at a company like this, which started with a lot of opposition or people not understanding, it's the first large-scale mining company in Kenya. People are not understanding what is this. So they decided to do things the right way. They have the first proper EIA report making process.
If we go back to, yesterday I talked about the 3 levels of capacity at individual level and organizational level and institutional level or the societal level, enabling environment. What are the capacity gaps as you see in general at these 3 levels?
There might be a challenge with individual capacity.
In what way?
Like, say for example, Kenya is not a mining jurisdiction as I say. We are not traditionally miners. So it's something we are trying to achieve. We are motivated by economic gains, but our culture is not that. And we don't, most of the players don't have that formal training in it. So they are just going into it because of the push by the economic needs. So you find yourself in the mining sector, but you actually don't know exactly what you want to do to achieve what you aim to achieve. That's it. Organization. When you join us as an organization, what I've seen like in Kenya, leave alone the multinationals, some people they understand, what is this we want to do. We are group, we are an organization. What is this we want to do? How much money are we supposed to use? How much money do we envisage to do? Then the other stakeholders, they come like the community. And they are the community engaged people who you are more likely to meet. Then they are talking like they are talking for the community, but in essence they are talking for themselves. And they are not talking for the whole good of the project. They are looking for lithium price or a favor. So all these things help to raise the cost of the project. And when the cost of the project is being raised without any explainable system, the investors start looking at it, will we be able to make money out of this project? So you create a situation of uncertainty. But when all these mines are harmonized, when all we are talking is support and we are talking real issues, we help to lower the uncertainty and help build confidence for the investor. That's all what I think about it. And when I look at the project, the CESA, its major concern is the environment and the social. And these are 2 ingredients which promise or on which the sustainability of a project is found. So to me it's very essential, because I know if we can have proper environmental concerns and social concerns, our mining projects will be better sustained. Yeah.
You have you mentioned earlier that you have participated in the New York event. Have you participated in any other webinars or other mainly working in the project working group? Yeah.
No, I'm not in the webinar.
Oh, you're not in there. Okay, you're outside of that. But what? Because we have a lot of sort of learning components. Yeah, we work through workshop, and there's an exchange of experience, knowledge with the other countries. How important is this setup, this peer learning setup, in your view, in this kind of project?
It's a big one because when you meet people from Sweden, they are telling you how it is in their country. And like yesterday, we understood in Sweden, the mining is not hidden by the small scale mining. So when it's done professionally, you definitely know that in that jurisdiction, mining is contributing better to the economy of that country. But here when we are having it being done mainly by the externals, then it's wrong. The level is very much down. And it's very hard now to have proper economic benefits when the operations are at their worst. So that's a challenge to me as a chamber. And my thinking is, how now do I start maybe sensitizing these people, the external, to do it better with the hope that they will, with time, grow to formal establishment. You know?
Whose interest are you mostly concerned? You mostly concerned of is the small artisanal miners or the other mining companies?
Okay.
Whose interests are you safeguarding from the chamber?
All of them. Because we know the land scale cannot in Kenya, as I said, mainly the mining you see around, it's mostly artisanal. So if you have a big scale, a big company coming in the same area, definitely it's coming to meet those people who are doing it at Sanore. So when you are coming in as a chamber to support this company which want to do things in the large scale, you have to harmonize the interests. The accent should
coexist, co-benefit.
Yes. They should not feel that we are being chased away. They should feel that we can get whatever we are doing and in an easier way, even when it's working, operating within us.
So the chamber is kind of liaison, isn't it? It serves as a liaison between the mining companies and the communities, the small.
I would not say it's a reason. It is a bond to hope for better environment. If you read the Mining Act right now, it says nobody is around to work in areas which have been licensed to another operator. But now we are looking at, say, the large scale, especially the gold miners and the explorers, they have concessions in areas where the sons are working. So that is now where we are putting our brains. How do we make them coexist? Because if the government comes and tells them, move away from these areas because we have licensed company A, there will be bad brand between the two companies. We want to grow an environment for coexistence because ours is to enhance the environment for business for better. You get? And if
it's creating a good, healthy, sustainable business environment.
Yes, and that's why we
with participation of the community.
With the community, the ministry, and everybody.
So that's also conflict sensitive, also, right?
It's a very sensitive.
Yeah, I mean, not that kind of violent conflict we talk about, where there's the social cohesion.
Yes. Because when you look at the law, it says this: how do we now modify this law to at least create a better understanding between the different players with different objectives? Yeah. Then from there, how do we compel the government to support each of the players, the large scale, the small scale, and, so that we can enhance the rule of law, which is the mandate of the ministry.
I understand that, but how do you see that? What are for you, representing the chamber or the CEO of the chamber, what are the biggest learning points so far from the project, the takeaways so far from this EGP project?
Thank you. GP, I'm getting now to understand better why the operating companies, big and small, should be thinking or should factor in their operations issues of environment. We should not just be motivated by making the money or getting the mineral from the ground without thinking if we are getting it from ground, we are impacting the environment in this manner, what is the cost of conserving that or preserving it or mitigating the environmental whatever, so that we can now weigh the opportunity cost. That should be the option number one for our people. If we are employing people, how are we employing them? How are their working conditions? So that we can again continue improving the social life of the people we are working with. That's, if you look at the census, those are the things it's critically looking at. When I look at the Mining Act, I don't see great emphasis on the environment. I don't see great comparing force for the respect of the social values. Okay, it's taken care of in other laws, but we need it there. We can have a regulation to deal with environment and the social issues, so that we can have the cessation being a requirement in the mining and mineral development sector. Yeah. Because if you look at the CESA, this CESA is done for environmental governance in large-scale mining. So, out of this, we expect to see some sections in the Mining Act this year.
So you both have the large and the artisan on...
If you look at our 3 priority areas we have selected, jointly with the NEMA, UNDP and the Kenya Chamber of Mines as the ministry, one of them is reviewing the Mining Act so that we can now entrench stronger combating force for the players to factor environment and social issues in their operation. If we can factor it in the Mining Act, then we encourage the rule of law, then we'll be moving in the right direction.
How do you see, because we discussed in the group setting yesterday, the results that we observed so far and what we expect a bit more to come with all these planned activities completed. But in your view, are there any, different view from what we discussed yesterday in terms of the results so far? From the CESA or from the other activities that have been completed. From the perspective of the chamber, what do you see as the sort of new relationship or new way of thinking or doing things? Are there any sort of early indication of changes?
Thank you. Yesterday we were learning about the royalty payments. The benefit, the key ones are the benefit sharing. What the economic contribution, environment for operation, respect for environment and social rights. Those are the major issues. Now, when we look at how we came in, we are looking at environment and social. And social strength will come if the communities feel they are benefiting from whatever is happening, because it's the natural sources. And that is now where the companies are called to pay for royalty, because they are paying royalty because they are using a resource which is state-owned, and state is for the people. Then the state is mandated or has a mandate to share the benefits with the locals. And in the Act, if you remember yesterday, we were even outlining what is provided for in the Mining Act, 70-2010. That's very good. However, implementation. When we listen to the know that. All what he knows is, where is my 10%? Whatever is happening in the back office, it's not his concern. And when that sharing is delayed, it creates an environment of mistrust.
So what do you think could be done then about this sort of, what could be the potential solutions to address this?
The potential solution
is it also the community awareness, education, but also the government side? How do you see how to address this challenge?
What we should be doing now is set modalities on how we share the benefits and implement it. Because like the act was made 2016, and in the act it says benefits will be shared in this manner. Now it's 2018. The people who are aware of that benefit sharing formula, they grew or they developed some expectation. The expectation has not been met up to now. So they might be growing anxious, or their patience may be running out. When the patience runs out, they might start now fainting through the company, saying, you people, you are cheating us. Where is our money? So it's up to now all the other stakeholders to ensure the interest of each of the stakeholders is taken care of, or is explained to an understandable language, so that we can continue maintaining our cool as we support this process. But when you say you share, we are not seeing anybody sharing, we are not seeing anybody saying. When you ask the company, they say we are paying. When we look at the government, they say we are creating modalities to share. People may not understand what we are saying. And the most important person to appease is the man on the ground, the community. Because the community can wake up one day and say, stop.
What sort of, when a government, there's some new law or some new policy, whatever that concerns the community, what are the normal, usual way that the Kenyan government communicate with community? What are the channels for them to communicate about new policy in general? Not necessarily,
Okay.
How do they reach out the information to the community?
Mainly is through workshops organized by the concerned ministries. Because that's now become the official communication. They can communicate through letters to their...
But how does it get down to the community level?
Yeah, through barasas. Barasas is the main thing. Because the barasas can be called for by the chief, and the ministry can come and raise those barasas on key issues. The key issues of concern. Like currently the ministry is moving around the counties, telling people about the Mining Act and what they are doing, and the level of mining, where the government wants to be. We have done it in Kitui County, we did it in Kware on Monday, and I know we are, in the next 2-3 weeks, they will be visiting another county. Why are we doing this? To show the public and the community in general that this is what the mining, these are the roads which guides the mining sector, and this is what we expect from the mining companies, and these benefits will be shared in this manner. But as I said, when you go to the people and tell them you share what you are getting, and you don't share in a timely manner,
or in a format that they can understand.
Yeah. They want to see we have received it as our contribution or as our share from this investment.
So there is a workshop usually, but do they do any posters or radio or using technology, mobile technology to communicate certain, even the mining companies, large or small? How do they, do they engage them on face-to-face workshop? What happened in between if there are some important messages that they will, or mainly in these major gatherings? Is there any use of mobile technology in the communication between the government and community members?
circulated to the respective offices. And you can have advertisements for meetings where now you expect the community to come and any interested person. But communication by email is not the
or SMS or WhatsApp. I don't know what is common here. It's not.
To inform you this is happening.
Right.
Yeah. But when the government want to make a communication, it can appear as a press release. Yeah. It can appear as a public notice in the paper.
What is the role of NGO, the civil society organization, particularly in the case of mining sector, environmental governance? How do you see the role of the NGO? Because we don't have a presence here, so I can't really speak to get some insight. What is their engagement on these issues?
That's a good one. Like, let me give you an example of coal mining. Coal. The NGO went there. It's against the coal mining. It has environmental issues. It has many things.
The advocacy NGO.
Yeah. But now the county says and the government, we are committed to coal mining. We want to do coal mining to enhance our energy provision.
Supplies, yeah.
Our energy supply. You know, that brings now the NGO and the government at cross. When the NGO comes with the mining, the civil society, what will they say? Don't allow them to mine, because that is what we have had. Don't allow this company, don't give your land to these exploration companies.
Oh, it's like total
they will take
ban.
your land.
Oh, rather than trying to make sure the company engage or share the benefits somehow.
Because, and I've engaged few, I told you, when you tell people not to give their land for exploration purposes, how do you expect the industry to grow? Say no, they have to be compensated. Compensate them for what? I'm just looking to see whether there are mineral occurrence in your land and whether that occurrence can be studied to confirm there is a deposit and that deposit is mineable. Then we start thinking through now the environmental and socio issues. There's a way. If you don't allow the companies to investigate for mineralization within the land, then the sector will never grow. And that is where now the NGOs, over time, they are becoming irrelevant in the mining sector, because more often than not, they come to oppose. Am I saying it? Like the Source International, they explained very well what they are doing with the community. And what they are doing can even be supported by the company. Because they are not opposing, they are looking at the impact and how can we mitigate. I liked that. The Source International is doing it very well. And they are providing the data so that through that they can be more meaningful engagement with the company. But when you come and say, no, these are your minerals, don't allow anybody to touch them, you become an hindrance in an area where the government is focusing on. And when the government start now coming and holding barassas in those areas, you create yourself, you become very irrelevant. That's why you see the civil society presence is not there.
But how to go about this? How to bring them on board? Do you think what could be the best way to bring them on board, or how important it is?
Let them understand the mining cycle. Let them understand the mining cycle and how the Mining Act is crafted. Because if you look at the mining cycle and the Mining Act, the Mining Act is trying to explain what should be happening for each stage of the cycle. But when you see an exploration company and you are critiquing it like it's a mining company, am I saying the truth? And most of our civil society, they have not studied the cycle. They, you know, like you now, you know the mining, and you have gone in several other areas. So when you talk sense. The guy from the Source International, he talks sense, because you can see this person is really saying what should be happening in every mining company. If
It's a shame they're not here.
Yeah?
It's really a pity they are not here.
They are not with us. The Source International should be here.
No, the Source International is here, but I'm talking about the NGO in Kenya.
Yeah, because then they come to oppose. You get what I'm saying? And when you oppose, you cannot keep on opposing.
So if I understand correctly, is that they if there will be some basic training about the cycle, maybe they can understand the whole picture and see where they can contribute rather than just opposing.
Let me give you an example of Transparency International. International IT. International Transparency.
TI. There's also ET, right?
They looked at the Mining Act, and they were looking at areas which are not transparent. And they say in licensing, it's not clear. And I asked them, why are you saying in licensing or mining concession it's not clear? These are the things you are supposed to provide. This is the bond which we look at them. This is the minister who will sign it. How else did you want it? So when you come and say there is corruption in the licensing procedure, that is imagined. You know? But you have imagined it, then where should we put the safeguards? You mentioned, already we find those safeguards are in the act. You know, you become irrelevant. It's like imagining, I'm sleeping. There will be a thief coming to my house. The first safeguard is to ensure you have locked the door to your bedroom, you have locked the entrance door, and the gate is locked. If you have a dog, the dog is out. If you have a watchman, you have talked to him to ensure he's awake. Those are safeguards. So if you are just saying there will be a thief in this, and you are not putting safeguards, or you are not suggesting where we need to put safeguards, you are talking from an informed point. And as I say,
so you have an issue with the methodology, is that right? The Transparency International's methodology to make that judgment.
Transparency International is good, but I listened to them. We were in a workshop and I listened. I told them, you people, you are talking more on perception than the reality, because what you are saying is not supported in our mineral code. You get? Like if you are talking to Swedish and you say, you know, up to now, we want to know who owns the minerals, and you are crossing the roads, you realize, oh, up to now we have not clearly defined who owns the minerals. So you know you can say here is a problem. The community can claim the mineral. But because Sweden is a welfare state, they don't perceive that coming in, because that is not how we are created. We are not founded in that. We are founded as a welfare state. You get?
Yeah, I understand.
But they are becoming aware of that now, because they have seen personal interests growing and superseding the welfare interests. Am I saying that true? So they need to provide a profession to guide that area. Because the law is just, now we are at base.
Oh, we can see it. Okay, we continue.
We will continue. Put it off.
We've had